Forget the knucklehead ninja. What if Naruto held the soul of a malevolent curse? Sukuna, the king of curses. Hero or monster? This is the twisted tale of Naruto Uzumaki, the vessel of chaos.
During the second phase of the Chunin exams, in a quest to earn Sakura's approval, Naruto set off alone to obtain a scroll on his own. This bad decision ended up with him getting jumped by 6 hidden rain ninja. As he was on death's door, he got pulled inside a red room to see a giant man sitting on a throne made out of skulls. "Who are you, Naruto?" "I am Ryaman," Sukuna said the man. "What do you want?" "Naruto. I don't like your tone. If you don't want to die, I suggest you beg me to save you." "Sukuna, you can save me." "Naruto. Like I said, beg." "Sukuna. Screw you. I'd rather die than beg someone to save me." "Naruto, why you little shit? This is your last chance. Beg." Sukuna glared at him. Naruto's decision remained the same. Sukuna bursted out laughing. Why is he laughing? Naruto thought, even though you are weak, I admire your guts, kid. As a reward, I will give you all my power and memories. Sukuna, your power and memories. Naruto. At first I was gonna take your body over, but I have changed my mind. Sukuna, take over my body. Naruto thought, come here, Naruto. Sukuna. Naruto made his way. Sukuna. When he was in front of Sukuna, Sukuna placed his hand on Naruto's head. When Sukuna did this, he transferred everything to Naruto. As Naruto saw Sukuna's memories, he was disgusted by his misdeeds. Consider this your lucky day, Naruto. My next reincarnation won't be as lucky as you, Sukuna said before disappearing in the real world. The hidden rain ninja were laughing at Naruto's corpse. This stupid brat really thought he could obtain a scroll on his own. Shigeru, idiot Bayu. Can you guys shut up, you are noisy. Naruto, he's alive. They thought. Naruto stood up. How is he alive? The senbon should have pierced most of his organs. Shigeru thought, kid, you have a death wish. You should have just played dead. And waited a while for us to leave. Idiot. Kagari, like I said, shut up, you are noisy. Naruto, let's finish off the brat once and for all. Oboro, if you guys kneel, I will spare you all. Naruto, you spare us. Yeah, right. Bye. Last chance, kneel. Naruto. Fuck you. Shigeru. In an instant they were all slashed in half. The trees behind them also got slashed. Fools. You just had to spit on my kindness. Naruto, why do I feel nothing when I killed them? Naruto thought, must be Sukuna's influence. Naruto pushed out all the senbon in his body and healed himself. I guess I should go look for my teammates. But before that, Naruto said, before checking for the rain ninja scrolls. After that, Naruto got them. He went to find his teammates. After a while of running, Naruto comes across the sight of Sakura getting beat up by the Sound Genin. In the nearby bushes, Team Guy and Ten watched Sakura being beaten up by the Odo Nin. Naruto also decides to watch this. I really have changed. I would have already jumped in to save her. Naruto thought Lee wanted to save her, but Neji told him to bide his time. Neji wanted to see what she learned under Hatake Kakashi and were sorely disappointed. The girl was at the level of an academy student, and the only thing she showed other than academy skills was tree climbing. Lee decided that this was the time to help their comrade, and Ino decided to help her childhood friend. But in the end they were unsuccessful when Zaku sent one of his decapitating airwaves attack at his teammate Kin, who was being possessed by Ino at the time. Shikamaru and Choji saved Kin from Zaku's attack. They took the hit for her, and both were defeated by Zaku. Lee was defeated by the sound waves from Dosu's gauntlet. Suddenly, a dark aura was felt as Uchiha Sasuke woke up with dark purple chakra oozing from his body, which was covered in black flame-like marks on his left side. Sakura was very excited that her Sasuke-kun was awake, but the black marks on his skin worried her. He had a manic smile on his face, which really creeped her out since it was quite similar to the snake Sanin they fought. Sasuke looked at Sakura and saw her state. Which one of them did this to you, Sakura? Zaku spoke out in an arrogant voice, I did it, and soon, you will be in the same state, decapitating air. As Zaku was preparing to fire his attack, Naruto's eyes flashed red. He started to release a ton of curse energy. All the genin felt their bodies grow cold as they felt this. They became paralyzed with fear. In an instant, Naruto appeared next to Sasuke. All of the leaf genin were surprised to see that the one releasing the dark aura was Naruto. His aura is even more sinister than the Uchiha's. Neji thought. Naruto looked at the beaten leaf genin and said, pathetic. Even with the advantage of numbers, you couldn't beat these losers. All of the genin didn't move an inch. Naruto turned to Sasuke and put his arm around him. What's up with you? Why do you got those markings on you? Naruto, why can't I move? Am I still weak? Even with the power he gave me? Sasuke thought, I asked you a question. I expect an answer, Sasuke. Naruto said, looking him in the eyes. Sasuke shivered in fear as he looked into Naruto's cold red eyes. Sasuke got bit on the neck by Orochimaru, that's why Sasuke's got those markings. Sakura said stuttering, you bastard Orochimaru. Dosu thought as he figured out why Orochimaru sent them after Sasuke. Sakura, is your name Sasuke? Naruto. No. Sakura. Then shut up. I asked him, not you. Naruto said as glared at her. Naruto looked at Sasuke again. So Sasuke, who do you think would win if we fought right now? Naruto, you dob. Naruto glared at him. You Naruto. Sasuke. Good answer. Naruto said, ruffling his hair. Naruto looked at the Dosu and Zaku. Kneel. Naruto. They kneeled. After they kneeled, the trees behind them got slashed to pieces. The two looked horrified as they saw the destroyed trees. If we didn't kneel, we would have died. Dosu thought, scared, I wonder why those fools didn't kneel earlier. Naruto, oh that's it. I wasn't giving them the motivation intimidation needed to kneel. Naruto said with a sinister smile, is this really Naruto? Has he been hiding his true nature all this time? Shikamaru thought, as a reward for kneeling I will let you guys live. Naruto said to the sound ninja. They were glad to hear this. But first I need to teach you a lesson. Naruto said as he appeared behind Zaku. Naruto grabbed his arms and put his foot on Zaku's back. You seem very proud of these arms, said Naruto with a dark smile. Naruto pulled his arms. What are you doing? Asked Zaku before crying out in pain due to having his arms dislocated. Naruto walked away from the sound team. You're free to go now. Naruto. Dosu quickly grabbed his teammates and disappeared. As for the rest of you? Naruto looked at the Leaf Genin. Is Naruto gonna kill us? Sakura thought. That's stronger. If you remain weak you will get trampled on. Naruto said as his eyes turned back normal. The Leaf Genin were relieved. Naruto stopped releasing his curse energy. Naruto healed Team 10 and Lee as a reward for protecting his team. Ino and Lee woke up a few seconds later. Well then we will be on our way. Naruto said before knocking out Sasuke with a punch to the gut. Sasuke's marks receded. Why did you do that to Sasuke-kun? Ino yelled. Ino, shut up, don't antagonize him, Shikamaru said with a serious expression. I'd listen to Shikamaru if I were you. If you don't want to end up like those trees, Naruto said as he pointed to the trees. Naruto did that. Ino thought. Naruto created 2 clones to carry his teammates. See you later, losers. Naruto before disappearing. Neji and Tenten jumped out of the bushes. Who would have thought Naruto would be so dangerous? What a drag. Shikamaru, Naruto, Uzumaki and Sasuke had just what was that dark power they were emanating. Neji thought. After a few seconds Team Guy left. Team 10 rested for a while before they left. Naruto and his clones made their way to the tower quickly. They arrived at the tower with no trouble and entered to find a scroll with writing on it hanging from the wall, which Sakura started reading. If qualities of heaven are your desire, acquire wisdom to take your mind higher. If earthly qualities are what you lack, train your body and prepare to attack. When heaven and earth are open together, the perilous path will be righteous forever. This something is the secret way that guides us from this place today. She finished. Something? Questioned Naruto. It looks like there is a word missing or something, replied Sakura. I think it means we should open the scrolls now. Naruto took out the heaven and earth scrolls he got from his opponents and opened them both. The scrolls exploded into smoke, and in the smoke there was a man. They waited for the smoke to clear until the person was visible. It's you, said Sakura. Hey guys, long time no see, said Iruka smiling. Iruka sensei. Naruto. Naruto, what happened to Sasuke? Iruka. He got knocked out by Naruto. Sakura wanted to say, but she didn't want to piss off Naruto. Sasuke here got bitten by a guy named Orochimaru. Naruto. Iruka's eyes widened when heard the name of the former Sannin. He looked at Sasuke's neck to see the curse mark. I have to inform Lord Hokage of this, Iruka thought. He led the 3 into the tower and took Sasuke to the medical staff in the tower. After Iruka did that, he left to report Sasuke's situation to the Hokage. When Team 7 arrived, they saw Team 8 and the Sand team were the first teams to arrive. I hope the next exam will be more entertaining, Naruto thought. Few days later. The second phase of the exams was now over. The teams that made it were Team 7, 8 and 10, Guy's team, the Sound team, the Sand team and Kabuto's team. The teams assembled in an arena with the Hokage standing in front of the Genin with their Jonin senseis behind him. Hiruzen told the Genin that the Chunin exam served the purpose of not only testing ninja, but also of moderating the levels of the ninja in each nation, as well as developing friendship. Just tell me the details of the exam, I can handle anything you can throw at me, said Garia when the Hokage finished speaking and answering other questions. Very well, I will now tell you exactly what the details of the third exam are, said the Hokage. Just then Hade appeared bowing in front of the Hokage and asked him if he could speak first, to which the Hokage obliged. A8 explained that they needed to hold a preliminary as there were too many people, which was met with cries of outrage, but he justified it by talking about the fact that many important nobles and feudal lords would be coming to see them and they didn't want to waste their time and that they were only looking for the best of the best shinobi. The preliminaries will begin immediately. If any of you aren't in top physical condition, now is the time to quit, said Haid. The Budo gave up, but no one else did. Sakura wanted Sasuke to, but he told her that the only reason he fights is to test himself and that all the best are here. So what am I supposed to just watch you suffer? I can't bear to watch, cried Sakura. Then don't watch. But stay out of it, has nothing to do with you. I am an avenger. Whether I become a chunin or not means less than nothing to me. My goal is to test myself against the best, and the best of the best are all here, replied Sasuke. Sasuke, she cares about you, you don't have to be so mean, Naruto said playfully. HMMPH, Sasuke. You're the one I want to fight the most, Sasuke thought as he looked at Naruto. Now, the preliminaries will follow sudden death elimination of one-on-one matches, with only the winner moving on to the third exam. As for the rules, there are none. You will fight until one dies or concedes defeat or is rendered physically incapable of continuing. Naturally, those who are losing are encouraged to quit to avoid having a fatal outcome. Also, as proctor, I will intervene if the situation seems hopeless to save as many lives as possible. Now we will see what fate is in store for you, said Haid. Anko spoke a command and a panel on the back wall diagonal from the hands opened, revealing a screen. The panel you see will give the names of the two competitors who are chosen completely at random. I guess there is nothing more to say, so let's begin, concluded Haid. Everyone's gaze turned to the screen as they waited for the names of the combatants of the first preliminary match. Words flying on the screen as it began to randomly select two of the remaining genin. Only the VS being the only thing constant. Only to stop with the names Yoroi Akado vs Sasuke Uchiha, revealing the first to fight in the match. Sasuke smirked as he read his name and the name of his opponent. Didn't waste any time, did they? He thought as the curse mark stung him, making him flinch and grasp the source of it, never once losing his smirk or quelling his anticipation for the fight ahead. Yoroi's expression was hidden due to his mask. In a dull voice he spoke. I couldn't ask for anything more. No. Sakura fretted. Why did it have to be Sasuke? Meanwhile, the rest of the ninja were all watching Sasuke from the corner of their eyes. Garia, Rock Lee, Dosu, Zaku and Neji were all interested to see what the great last survivor of the Uchiha clan was capable of. No matter how one looked at it, the fight would be interesting to watch. Alright now. Those whose names have been drawn, come forward. Heiei called as Sasuke and Yoroi Akado stepped out of line and stood before the proctor. Yoroi's appearance was greatly concealed by the mask he wore around his mouth that hung around his neck, along with sunglasses that obscured his eyes and forehead protector, which he wore like a bandana. He also wore what appeared to be the standard attire of his team, consisting of a high-collared, sleeveless purple shirt with a short-sleeved white one underneath, a simple obi around his waist, purple pants, blue sandals and purple fingerless gloves. Stopping in the front of the teams, the two-leaf ninja faced each other. You have been chosen for the first match, Yoroi Akado and Sasuke Uchiha. Are there any objections? The third proctor asked the two. None here, Sasuke said casually. No. Yoroi gruffly answered. The male sound Sensei smiling at the turn of events. Kakashi's expression hidden by his mask per usual. As Yoroi and Sasuke stared each other down, Sakura resigned herself to the fact there was nothing more she could do. Well, that's it. All I can do now is watch. Ino stared at her love interest and, being the obsessed fangirl she was, noticed something about him was off. Something is wrong. He's acting strangely. She wasn't the only one to notice either. Could it be the curse mark? Dosu thought. Sasuke, good luck. Rock Lee cheered his potential foe, eager to fight him once again. Now we just sit back and see what happens. Neji thought, eager to see what the other wielder of a legendary ninjutsu was capable of. Are watched, and even though he didn't express it, he too was eager to see the results of the match would be. As Sasuke stood there, the curse mark continued to sting him, though he tried to hide the pain. The pain won't go away. That curse mark giving you trouble? Yoroi thought before the proctor drew everyone's attention. Alright then. Let's begin the first match. Haid announced before coughing again. Okay. Everyone other than the two opposing candidates will now clear the area and move to the upper level. He gestured. All of them went up except Kakashi. Walking behind Sasuke, Kakashi spoke in hushed tones as he gave his student an important piece of advice. Sasuke. Don't use your Sharingan. Making his stiffen before relaxing and smiling a little. So you know about it. If that mark on your neck gets out of control, your life could be in danger. Kakashi warned him. Sasuke was silent before he replied. I'm aware of that. Just to let you know, if it gets to that point, I'll have to step in and stop the fight. Kakashi said before walking away and in his louder voice offered him one last thing. Good luck. Sasuke turned sharply at this. Stop the fight. He thought angrily as he watched his senseis retreating back before covering the curse mark. This thing, it seems to be resounding to my chakra. He thought as he recalled the times he tried to fight and the curse mark got in the way. Every time I use my chakra, this thing gets a little stronger. It gains a little more control over me. I've got to fight him without using my Sharingan, and even my own Justu is off limits. Maybe I can make him laugh himself to death. He thought sarcastically. Above the fighting ground, the male sound sensei smirked at the hidden knowledge he knew, and Sasuke would soon find out himself. The thing is, Sasuke, Yorwei's unique skills are going to be disasters for you. Down below, Sasuke just smirked. Whatever. Let's get on with this. Up above, all the senseis joined their teams. Even though Kakashi didn't show it, he was worried. Watch yourself, Sasuke. Don't push it. He hoped. Heiei looked to make sure everyone was out of the way and eyed both contestants before giving the all clear. Then if you're ready, let the match begin. Oh, I'm ready. Yorwei answered as his hands formed the seal for tiger. So am I. Sasuke answered as he took his stance. Sasuke grasped one of his kunai and at that moment, Yorwei attacked with 3 shuriken. To which, Sasuke easily knocked them right back at Yorwei. The curse mark flashing as it caused its host pain. The pain caused him to stagger and wobble. Already. Sasuke thought angrily as he fell to the ground. Looking up, Yorwei easily dodged a shuriken as they logged themselves into the wall. Sasuke stiffened as he noticed Yorwei right in front of him about to punch his lights out as he pushed himself to the right out of the line for attack as Yorwei's fist collided with the floor, creating a crater where the Uchiha once was. While airborne, Sasuke threw his kunai into the ground. Infusing Yorwei since he expected the ninja to throw it at him. Huh. Swinging himself around, Sasuke latched his feet onto Yorwei's legs, the ninja grunting as Sasuke used one of his legs to force Yorwei to bend his knee and fall forward. Warping his legs around Yorwei's head in a lock as Yorwei swung his arm out at Sasuke which he easily caught. Hey, he got him. Sakura. It's too early to call the match. Naruto thought. Yorwei had the same sentiments. Really? He asked as his hand held captive in Sasuke's, turned and clenched Sasuke's shirt. His hand glowing blue once again. Sasuke's eyes widening as he felt something strange come over him. Up in the balcony, the male sound sensei was smirking. What's happening? Sasuke gritted out between his teeth. Soon the glow dissipated and Yorwei easily removed his arm from Sasuke's weakened hold. Sasuke's hand twitching as they tried to move. Sasuke gasping as Yorwei smacked his arm into Sasuke's torso and made him release his headlock on Yorwei as the ninja got up and jumped away. All my strength, suddenly it's gone. Sasuke thought shocked as he struggled to move and grip the cloth over his chest. Seeing Yorwei charge at Sasuke, Sakura cried out to warn him. Sasuke, no. Managing to sit up, Sasuke didn't have the time to do anything else as Yorwei reached him and smacked his palm into Sasuke's head. The boy crying out in pain as he was forced back to the floor and tried to remove his opponent's hand as it continued to glow. Yorwei laughing at Sasuke's weakening attempts. His hand falling helplessly to the ground as Yorwei drained him. Kakashi's pupils tiny pinpricks as his single shown eye watched in horror. Sasuke. Sakura called out worried. What the my chakra, what are you doing? Sasuke demanded an answer. Yorwei just laughed again at how unobservant Sasuke had been. You're just noticing it now. Up above, the gathered teams watched the fight continue. Some were disappointed at the one-sided fight so far and the Uchiha's inability to fight back. Gaara was stoic as ever with his sensei behind him as Kankuro leaned against the rail with Temari beside him, leaning against the wall. On the other side, Hinata's team watching also watched but didn't comment on the fight or show worry for their fellow former academy classmate. Not far from them was Naruto's team. For Kakashi and Sakura, it was easy to see they were worried. My chakra? You're stealing it from me. Sasuke yelled out in pain. Figuring it out at last. Yorwei, you finally caught on, huh? That's right, Sasuke. He's draining your chakra. Yorwei has an extraordinary ninja art at his fingertips. The male sound sensei thought with a smirk. He can absorb an opponent's chakra with the palm of his hand. And once the last drop of your chakra has been drained from you, Sasuke, you'll have no other choice but to rely on the power of the curse mark. Sasuke's hand twitched weakly before he had enough. Get off me. He yelled as he moved his feet and kicked Yorwei away, the boy sprawled on his back. However, the boy was able to get back on his feet easily as Sasuke struggled to do so. So, you've still got some strength left, huh? Impressive for a guinea pig. Yorwei mocked. Whoa. That was close. Sasuke thought as he panted. Don't worry, little man. I'll make it short and sweet. Yoroi promised as his hand once again glowed as he charged at Sasuke. The boy getting up as he wobbled slightly on his tired legs. Yoroi growling as his fist swung out only to be dodged by Sasuke. Managing to stay out of Yoroi's grip. He can't keep that up forever. Neji thought. Seeing Sasuke barely dodge Yoroi's palm by a hair. Grunting a little in pain and moving far slower than before. What's the matter? Is that really the best you can do? Yoroi taunted as Sasuke tried to spin kick him only to jump away. Sasuke evaluated the situation as he panted, grasping at straws to find a quick solution to end and win this fight. Don't have the speed to keep away from him and don't have a chance at a close quarters fight. I need to think of something fast. Behind Yoroi and up on the balcony, Gaara watched in disappointment. The great Sasuke Uchiha. Is that all he's got? Come on, Sasuke. Sakura urged as she slightly sweated in fear and worry. Rock Lee, who was standing beside her, was also worried and frowned at the development of the ongoing battle. Expecting more, after their brief fight the day of the first exams, Naruto decided to threaten Sasuke. Sasuke. Naruto called out, making the boy look over his shoulder at him. If you lose, I will kill you. Naruto. Most of the spectators didn't think he was serious. Meanwhile, the others who experienced Naruto's malice knew he wasn't joking. Sasuke-kun, please win. Sakura thought. Sasuke continued to pant as he looked at Naruto. His attention turned to Lee. They're all wait. That's it. He knew exactly what to do. Huh? Hayate asked as he noticed the slight difference in Sasuke's eyes. In front of him, Yoroi's hand glowed as he prepared to attack, having enough of being ignored. I'll teach you to turn your back on me. He charged. Big mistake and you're last. Sasuke dodging left, right, left, center, up, left, and center to avoid Yoroi's hand and backing away. The sound Sensei, Kakashi, and the third proctor each watching intently on the fight. Is this as far as it goes? Hayate wondered. Dodging left, center, up, Sasuke smirked before he disappeared from Yoroi's eyesight. Huh? Where did he go? Yoroi asked alarmed. Rock Lee gasped as he watched Sasuke fall backwards to the ground, his right arm and leg holding him off the ground, as his left sent a kick straight to Yoroi's jaw, sending the ninja flying, as Sasuke flipped over his body like a dog and jumped up after his opponent. That's my move. Rock Lee recognized, a little upset and overall shocked Sasuke was doing it. Sensei shared similar sentiments as he also recognized his student's move. What the? If Gaara was surprised, he didn't show it. Kakashi was shocked. He had never seen Sasuke ever use that move before in training and wondering where it came from. The sound Sensei smirked at the skill his prey showed. Neji was amazed, seeing the Uchiha seemed to make a comeback after all that time of bellowing in pain and dodging. This turn of events was interesting. Shino's expression was hidden due to his coat, while Sakura's was in near disbelief. Yoroi soon came to his senses, though he couldn't believe what happened. Behind him, Sasuke had a mini monologue. Okay, I admit it. I kind of borrowed that move. But from here on in, it's all original. He said as he placed his left pointer and index fingertips into the middle of Yoroi's back. The dancing leaf shadow. Yoroi recognized. Below, Sakura and Hayate watched intently. Meanwhile, Sasuke's body had become immobile as the curse mark began to spread and glowed an angry fiery red. No, not again. Sasuke yelled. It keeps getting stronger and stronger. The mark reaching as it crawled along his skin and towards his eye. Soon covering half of his face in the process. The sound Sensei's smile never once left his face. Everyone watching was tense. The Hokage, the first two proctors, Iruka Sensei and Sakura, all were worried. For Sasuke, he became caught up in his memories. I will win, Sasuke thought, determined not to lose. From his position, Kakashi readied himself in case he had to jump in and intervene like he said he would. Is this it? No. I won't let this thing take over. No way. Sasuke screamed in his thoughts as the curse mark receded from his skin and had once covered. Moving back to the 3 tomo it originally was and turning black in dormancy. The sound Sensei's smile receding as well to be replaced by a frown and narrowing of his eyes. Along with Kakashi's. Anko was shocked to say the least. The curse mark receded. Sasuke only smirked. Here we go. Startling Yoroi as Sasuke turning slightly in the air to place his palm on Yoroi's back. Knowing what was coming next, Yoroi turned to block Sasuke's kick. You're no match for me. Yoroi taunted. Sasuke then turning the other way. Who's no match for who? Sasuke said, mocking Yoroi. Sasuke then smacked his arm into Yoroi's face, sending the ninja flying down, and they both finally began to lose momentum. He then punching Yoroi in the gut. Come back here. He yelled as they went down faster. I'm not done yet. Then using his foot, Sasuke kicked Yoroi and smacked the ninja even harder into the unforgiving floor of the arena. Lion's Barrage. Everyone growing serious as they watched what happened next. Yoroi crying out in pain as blood leaked from his masked mouth and Sasuke skidded away and eventually slowing down and flipping over head over heels as he came to a stop. They ate watching Sasuke closely as the boy tumbled. Yoroi's body had created a slight crater from the impact as he was knocked unconscious. Neither of the boys moved, though Yoroi looked the worse of the two with the blood leaking from his mouth and mask. Walking over to check on Yoroi, Hayate gave his verdict on the ninja before him. Well, this one's had it. Glancing back at Sasuke, while he was panting from the exertion, Sasuke was able to get back up onto his knees. Panting, Sasuke wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth as he continued to pant and rest on his knees. "I'm declaring this match over," Hayate announced as he stood up and pointed to Sasuke. As the winner of this preliminary round, Sasuke Uchiha advances to the finals. Sakura emitting a sound of delight. Sitting on his butt, Sasuke panted as he started to fall backwards in near exhaustion. Closing his eyes until he was startled into alertness as his back bumped into something that wasn't the floor along with a puff of smoke. Not bad." Kakashi completed as appeared behind Sasuke and propped him up with his bent right leg as he focused his attention on his red book. Sasuke took it as a compliment to him as he turned his head to look at his sensei, and he smiled. "Funny. Before the lion's barrage, your technique was very reminiscent of Guy's taijutsu. You must have used your Sharingan to copy it when you fought with Rock Lee that time," Kakashi guessed, hitting the nail on the head. "Hey Sasuke. You won, but in such an uncool way. You came out looking like you're the one who got beat up," Naruto mocked as he laughed on. "Didn't he just threaten me?" Sasuke thought. Sakura couldn't help but smile. "Sasuke, thank goodness." Rock Lee expressed nothing as he stared at Sasuke. Noticing, Sasuke stared back as he continued to pant. "Rock Lee. If I hadn't seen your moves up close when we went head to head, this one would have turned out badly," he thought as the memory of the fight flashed in his mind. Smiling until his body kindly reminded him of all the stress he had undergone and the lack of chakra and energy, his body shaking in the aftershocks. "Still, I don't think it's a technique I want to use very often." Rock Lee watched Sasuke in amazement. "Amazing. He only saw me do it once, and he was able to copy it perfectly." He too recalled the fight between them. "So that is your special ability? You really are something, Sasuke. You just keep getting stronger all the time. You make me almost a little nervous," he thought, sweating just a bit. Sensei watched his pupil as he thought about what he had just witnessed. "Impressive," he complimented before turning serious. "But you can't expect to master high-speed taijutsu and lotus movements just like that. It takes more than Sharingan," he thought, slightly peeved. "It takes blood and sweat and brutal training that whittles away your flesh. Even so, that last move of yours here reminds me of you, Kakashi, when you were young," Guy thought as he glanced at his rival. From the frown on Neji's face, he wasn't pleased with the results. Watching him, Tenten couldn't help but think, last year, Neji was the rookie to beat. Looking at Naruto, this year, it's Naruto. I hope none of us face him. The kid is something else. To already have developed his Sharingan to such a high level. And to think, we haven't even seen his full Uchiha ability yet," Kakashi thought. Pondering all the things Sasuke could potentially do in the future. "I still can't believe it. The way the curse mark receded, as if he gained over control of it." Anko thought in fear, never having such control over the one that plagued her. She wasn't sure if it was Orochimaru's curse mark that caused her fear or the kid himself that scared her more. The Hokage was impassive and calm, but he too was a little unnerved by what he had seen with the curse mark. Worrying for what the future would hold for the boy below and his own lost student. Are, on the other hand, was beginning to get antsy as his hand gripped the material of his own shirt. Slightly growling and making fuming sounds as he began to shake. Hankuro noticed this with dread. "Oh, no." He groaned. "Not again." "Wow. He was amazing," Hinata complimented sweetly. "He wasn't anything that special," Kiba replied gruffly. Ever since the academy, Kiba had tried to get an edge or one-up the Uchiha. His pride would never allow him to openly compliment the other ninja, no matter how impressed he truly was. The first part of the fight hadn't been that impressive. The sound sensei was shaking in glee. Enraptured by the performance and the ability of his prey to come out on top. Chucking a bit as his tongue slipped past his lips to lick them. Magnificent, he thought before a hand reached as grabbed his tongue and jerked it. Meanwhile, 3 medic ninja came out with a stretcher and carried Yoroi away. The third staying behind to address Sasuke as the others went on ahead. "Sasuke Uchiha, maybe you should come along to the infirmary, too, and let us treat your injuries. I think you're out of your league with this one," Kakashi told him. "Huh?" the medic asked. "I'll look after him," Kakashi assured him. "Okay, up you go. You're coming with me," he said in a carefree tone as he kneeled down and whispered to the Uchiha. "We've got to seal that curse mark." Before the preliminaries are over, Sasuke protested. I want to see who gets to go on to the finals. Forget it, Kakashi said seriously, leaving no room for arguments. And don't even think of arguing. If we leave it any longer, who knows? It may be too late. I've already cut you enough slack as it is. Sasuke was practically sulking as he didn't move a muscle. Seeing this, Kakashi urged him on. Come on. Let's go. Still sulking, Sasuke did as his sensei said. Sakura observing with concern as they left. Sasuke-kun. But the medic ninja and the last two competitors off the playing field and out of the way. Hayate walked forward and sighed. Okay then. Let's move right on to the second match. The proctor announced as all who remained watched aboard for the next match. Many with grim expressions. The screen flashed once again as characters flew by on the screen. The letters settling until it revealed the names of the next competitors. Shino Aburam vs Saku Apumi. Saku chuckled a bit as he read the sign before looking across the room where he guessed his opponent was. Which sucker is that? He asked, overconfident from the get-go despite his injured arms. Across the room, Shino was silent as he watched his opponent, observing the pathetic bug before him and how best to trap it. The sound sensei gave a weird smile as he looked at Shino's sensei who glared back at him. Step forward, please. Hayate called out for the two candidates. They came down. Very good. Now if you're both ready, then we'll begin. Hayate told them as they stood facing each other in front of him. Up on her side of the balconies, Sakura looked at Saku as she recognized him. That's that sound shinobi, the one who has got both his arms broken by Naruto. She thought. How's he going to fight with them? She wondered. Do you think Shino will be alright? Hinata asked, her mood gloomy. He's okay. Don't you worry about him. Kiba assured her. Huh? Hinata asked as she turned to the dog lover. He's the last person here I'd ever want to take on. Kiba answered, his tone serious and lacking his usual confidence. Candidates ready? Hayate asked as he backed away so he wouldn't get caught up in the fight. Seeing no arguments rising, Hayate didn't waste a moment. Begin. Well, Zaku. How you pull this one off will be a sight to see. Dosu thought. Down in the field below, neither combatant had moved even though the proctor had given them the all-clear to start the match. Each were waiting for the other to execute their first attack. Waiting to see who was more patient. If you fight me, you won't be able to recover. Shino promised darkly. Forfeit and withdraw. Zaku stared at him with a frown before answering. We will see. Shino said nothing as Zaku crouched down into fighting stance, taking a single arm out before him as he got ready to charge at him. One arm is more than enough to beat you, Zaku said as he rushed forward. Shino was standing perfectly still as his opponent came at him, only moving to raise his left arm to block Zaku's attack. Zaku's palm wide open. You couldn't beat me even if you used both your arms. Shino stated, not in overconfidence, he spoke as if his was fact, the simple truth. To Shino, it probably was the true. Yeah, well I've got news for you. Zaku shouted as air was pulled into a tiny hole in the center of his open palm the other ninja couldn't see. Try this. Blasting sound wave. He shouted as Shino turned his head towards the sound of rushing air, soon followed by an explosion occurred where the two ninja had stood. Zaku smirked as the dust cleared enough to see his plan had worked and Shino was on the ground. Kiba and Hinata gasped at the sight of their teammate taking full force of the blast. Kiba's eyes twitching in shock. Hinata, being the sweet soul she was, couldn't help but be worried. The spectators watched as Shino's body appeared to be smoking from the blast and Shino remained motionless. They couldn't hear any groans or struggle from the sunglass-wearing ninja below. Down below, Zaku clenched his hand into a fist and called out to Shino smugly. Alright, fool. You had enough. To everyone's surprise, Shino appeared to have gotten up and was standing up after taking the full blast of the attack, albeit he was hunched over with his head down. Huh? Zaku asked. Confused as Shino began straightening up as the dust began to settle and fade. There's no way. Zaku claimed shocked as everyone else as they leaned in to get a closer look to see what happened. Shino appeared to be alright despite being a little roughed up and dirty from the blast, knocking him off his feet and making him roll in the dirt. Teammates were relieved to see him okay. The spectators all began to hear something. It was the sound of chittering, like hundreds of bugs gathered together, growing louder and louder throughout the room. Sakura asked. Down below, Zaku soon found the source of the tiny chittering noise and gasped at the freaky sight before him. Across from the sound ninja, the chittering came from Shino, or what was inside him. Crawling around on his face, little black beetles were crawling over bits of his face and his clothes. Some climbing up and over the lower part of Shino's jacket and onto his front. All originating from little holes just off to the left of his glasses on his left side. The sight freaking out Zaku as his thoughts were racing through his head. What the he's got bugs coming out of him, like a human hive. sweating as the freaky sight. This guy's a freak show. He thought angrily as he moved into another fighting stance. Great. Zaku exaggerated sarcastically. Now that you've creeped us all out, what happens next? Shino said nothing as Zaku continued to glare at him. Meanwhile, Naruto smirked at the Abiram. Quite clever Shino. He thought, praising his fellow leaf shinobi. Using the dust cloud to act and provide as a cover for your little friends to fly off and come around Zaku from behind while the focus was all on you. That's why the sounds seem to be coming from everywhere. They're so small, it's easy to miss them until they swarm you. By then, it's too late. Soon, Zaku could sense something was wrong, that there was something behind him. Ah. Touring around, Zaku saw a swarm of the little beetles closing in up behind him, the bugs covering the floor as they scuttled around. Nearly covering every inch of the ground. Upon seeing the tiny forces massed together behind him, Zaku was shaking in fear. The insects chittering away as they came closer to their prey as Zaku's face and body twitched, unsure what to do as fear override his mind, temporarily paralyzed as sweat trailed down his face, and he desperately tried to move. In front of Zaku, Shino began to explain what exactly the bugs were. His mouth no longer hidden by his coat. His left hand in the air before him with a single beetle on his finder nail, the insect not even large enough to cover the entire nail. They're a rare species of parasitic beetle that attack their prey in a swarm, eating its chakra. The beetles closing in. An army of this size will suck you dry in less than a minute. Zaku watching them before turning to Shino with hate and gritting his teeth. Your only intelligent option is to forfeit the match. You can't fight two opponents at once. If you use your good arm against me, my friends will swarm you from behind. Conversely, if you use your good arm to keep them at bay, then you'll have me on your blind side. Shino pointed out. Everyone could see, as that situation was, there was no way out for Zaku to fight back or escape without it failing in the long run. Shino already explaining what would happen if he attacked. Even if he tried to go up and jump away to a farther and maybe safer location, the beetles would only fly after him and get him that way. Shino could also attack him, and that'd be the end of that. Either way, your defeat will be certain and unpleasant. It's wise to always have an ace in the hole. Shino told Zaku as his hands formed the hand signs for tiger. The bugs continuing their chittering, reminding Zaku time was running out and he needed to think of something quick. Otherwise, he was going to be bug food. Shaking, Zaku's eyes glazed over, which Naruto noticed. He couldn't help but wonder what Zaku was thinking. In the depths of his mind, Zaku thought about the past, how he got up to this point of time. How he crawled out of the hole that was his past. The fear, the pain, the humiliation, the helplessness he had gone through. Thanks to that man, he now was on a greater path. He no longer had a reason to be afraid, and this freak show before him was making him feel these things. Zaku would make him pay. He was strong. He would show them. All of them. Snapping out of it and glancing back at ever-chittering bugs behind him, Zaku tried to think of something. Watching him closely, Naruto noticed something going on with Zaku. The glazed look was coming and going, but he seemed to be slightly out of it. His eyes going back and forth between the two forces attempting to crush him and memories that plagued him. Zaku's working hand was shaking as he clenched it along with the rest of his body. That's it. Never again. Zaku swore. Recalling the time in the forest, the fear he felt. That's it. That's never gonna happen again. Naruto watched as Zaku's fearful face transformed into a wild and crazed look of rage, slightly startling her. Wondering what made him snap. With a ferocious angry roar, Zaku thrust his fist out toward Shino, slightly startling the bug user. Opening his palm, the crazed look got wilder. Now you've done it. Now you've made me mad. He roared. The spectators watched as Zaku revealed his other arm, able to remove it too from the sling. The arm now facing the bugs. Though Shino's expression was hidden, one could tell he was curious about the fool's next move as he lowered his hand. Thinking it was a bluff and the fool had lost his senses. Zaku was frowning for but a moment until he broke into a wide grin. Heh. HNNH. He grunted as his arm strained and eventually moved his fist open on the second try. Startling Shino. Like you said yourself, always have an ace in the hole. Right, he asked crazed. So it was just a ploy to make us believe he had only one good arm. Clever move. Dosu thought, complimenting his comrade. Down below, Zaku was shaking in fury as he roared yet again. I'll blow you away. He bellowed preparing to blast the beetles and Shino into oblivion. As Hinata watched, she couldn't believe her eyes. She noticed Zaku's arm getting bigger and bigger by the second, growing more swollen, bulging in ways that shouldn't be happening. Something was wrong. Was it doing so because he wanted a bigger explosion? Everyone watched and listened as the sound of air escaping filled the room, replacing the sound of Zaku's previous roars. It was similar to the sounds of balloons expanding so much they tore holes in themselves, and the air gradually escaping the flimsy confides that held it. Zaku's eyes widening as he too listened. Staring straight ahead, not a whimper or a scream escaped his lips. So shocked, he couldn't even feel the pain. He was in utter disbelief, he couldn't bring himself to look at his arms as blue chakra escaped, along with tiny bits of his own flesh and the wind he had been storing in his arms. Flecks of blue and flecks of skin appearing before Zaku's eyes. Small utters of shock were emitted from his mouth but couldn't be heard over the sound of his arm bursting from the pressure of wind and chakra. Dosu and Kin were gasping in horror. Hiba nearly jumped over the railing in shock as he leaned closer. Kurenai watched speechless as the rest of them. Amazed with what her student did to his opponent. Aya. Zaku cried out in pain once the chakra and air had died down. Zaku lowered his arms as they hung limply in front of him. My arms. What's wrong with them? He shouted. Groaning and grunting in pain, Zaku huffed and puffed as he tried to catch his breath, gritting his teeth as he turned his palms up towards the ceiling to look at the holes. What? He cried as upon closer inspection of his hands, he saw a small swarm of black beetles gathered together and had crawled inside of the holes. So tightly packed together that air couldn't pass through the hole. In the moment on the ground floor, where the two ninja were fighting, Shino swiftly appeared behind Zaku as he began to explain his own plan. Which dealt far greater success than Zaku's plan of trying to trick him into thinking his other arm was too injured to fight with and lead him into a false sense of security. Earlier, while I was distracting you with my helpful advice, I was also sending some of my little friends to plug up those bothersome wind holes in your hands. He said, highly pleased with himself, and from his tone, Shino was slightly smug about it working and fooling Zaku so easily. Both hands, just to be sure. Shino continued. You see, well, an ace in the hole is good. Zaku gasping in shock as Shino hissed out the rest of his sentence. Two aces are better. Shino joked. Good work, Shino, Naruto thought. Once again, Zaku began to feel trapped and helpless as beads of sweat clanged to his face as he filled once again in rage as it consumed his body and rational mind, roaring as he attempted to swing his arms out and hit Shino. Only for Shino to see it coming and smack Zaku away as the sound ninja cried out and landed in a heap on the floor. Groaning as he fell and didn't get up. Shino and the third proctor approached Zaku, who had yet to pick himself off the floor. Sprawled flat on his back, Zaku cried out though nothing touched him. The pain lingering from his fall, arms, and the punch Shino delivered to his face. The third proctor didn't look impressed with Zaku as he assessed the damage. Holes appearing in the abused flesh of the genin's elbow. Standing up from his crouch he had used for his inspection, he gave his final verdict on the match. I'd say this one has had it. Pausing as if he felt sorry for the poor guy. The winner is Shino Aburum. Hey, it concluded. Kurenai had a serious look on face as she took in this information. Kiba smirked, proud of his teammate for making it to the final round of the exam. Beside him, Hinata looked slightly sad. In gritted her teeth in anger. Dosu was furious. But Team Guy, Neji stood up straight as he moved away from the rail. Looking dissatisfied with the match. Before he could do anything, Rock Lee stopped him. Wait. How did he do that? Who is he? Neji said nothing as he did as he was asked. Stepping away from the others to get a clear view, he used his Kekkei Genkai. Byakugan. He thought as his hands formed the appropriate hand signs and lines formed around his eyes. Taking a closer look at Shino, Neji gasped at what he observed. I had no idea. I thought he must be using a summoning jutsu to get all those insects, but no. Neji informed his teammate, shock lacing his tone. They're actually living inside of him. Living inside of him? Rock Lee nearly shouted in shock as he turned to Neji, wondering if his rival was pulling his leg. Freaking out at the thought of bugs living inside the younger boy. There's a legend in the Leaf Village of a clan of insect tamers. Guy mentioned. Yes, I've heard of that clan as well. Neji shared as he informed Lee of what he knew about the clan. They say when a bug master is born, he enters into a scared pact with the insects. He allows them to nest in his body. In return, they obey their host's will. They serve him, answering his call, fighting his battles and destroying his enemies. I've also heard that they allow the insects to feed on their chakra as part of the bargain. Down below, Shino continued on his way as Neji watched the powerful opponent he could face if and when he made it to the final round of the exam. Rock Lee was shaking as he too turned to look down at Shino. So this guy is one of them? One of these bug tamers? As Shino moved to go join his team on the balcony, Medic Ninja moved in to collect Zaku and transport him to the tower's infirmary. As the Medic Ninja were discussing something, the Mummy Ninja couldn't help but think. I can't pretend we had anything in common except this team and our mission. Still, I'll even the score for you, Zaku. He promised in a low voice. On the other side of the room, Kurenai sighed in relief that the match was over and noticed the atmosphere of the room. My, it's getting chilly in here. Man, that Shino is good. But he is still weak compared to me. Naruto. Yeah right, dead last. Kiba. He's dead were the thoughts of the genin. Naruto decided to let the insults slide. If he and Kiba were matched up together he would beat the shit out of him. The rookies were surprised when Naruto didn't react to Kiba's insult. Noticing Shino rejoining the group, Hinata greeted him. Oh, wow, congratulations, Shino. Way to go. Good work. Kiba said bluntly. Shino just huffed at them before adding his 2 bits. HNF. I want to see you two do the same. A statement raising Kiba's ire towards his teammate. GRR. Yeah. Who died and made you team leader, huh? He questioned, though did nothing knowing he could possibly end up like the sound ninja. With Kakashi. Sasuke and Kakashi were in a dimly lit room with candles being the only light source. Sasuke was shirtless and sat in the middle of a large seal array. Okay Sasuke, this seal I'm about to put on you will seal up the curse mark, however, it is only as strong as you will, so you have to make sure it doesn't break, said Kakashi. Kakashi made numerous hand signs before saying curse sealing. Sasuke cried out in pain for a while, as all the kanji crawled across the floor and his body and went inside the curse mark, forming a ring around the mark at which point he passed out. Why you've grown Kakashi, to think you can perform the curse sealing, said Orochimaru who appeared from behind a pillar. You? What are you doing here? Demanded Kakashi taking a defensive stance. Long time no see, Kakashi, but I didn't come here for you. I have some business with that boy behind you, replied Orochimaru. What do you want with Sasuke? Asked Kakashi narrowing his single eye. It seems as though you have gained something since the last time we met, the Sharingan in your left eye, how I envy your good fortune, said Orochimaru who then paused before continuing. It is only fair that I should want it too. Don't you think? The power of the Uchiha. Orochimaru. You know this sound village that everyone is so curious about, it's mine, said Orochimaru. You see in order to play the game you need pieces to put on the chessboard, willing pawns, elaborated Orochimaru. So, is Sasuke one of these pawns? Asked Kakashi. No, Sasuke is a much more valuable piece than a pawn, said Orochimaru. Orochimaru stepped forward toward Sasuke and Kakashi charged up a lighting blade in response. Take one more step and one of us will die here. I don't care if you're one of the Sannin, the legendary 3 ninja, come any closer to Sasuke and I'll kill you, shouted Kakashi, his lone eye blazing in fury. Orochimaru started laughing and then looked Kakashi straight in the eye. Kakashi, you're very brave and very stupid. I leave for now, but Sasuke is an avenger. One day he will come looking for me in search of power, said Orochimaru as he walked away before he paused and said, unless you follow through with your threat to kill me, that is, stated Orochimaru while releasing a bit of bloodlust. Kakashi was terrified but kept his lighting blade going in an attempt to hide his fear. Orochimaru kept laughing and walked away until he disappeared from sight. One of us will die here. I must have been out of my mind, thought Kakashi in fear. He then takes Sasuke to the hospital. After getting Sasuke to the hospital, he used body flicker to and appear behind Naruto. Once Aku was cleared out of the way, it kept things moving among. Naruto hummed, eager to see who was fighting next and hopefully himself when he noticed something. In a puff of smoke, Kakashi returned. Kakashi sensei. Naruto. Hi. Kakashi greeted them. What do you mean, hi? Sakura demanded as she got worked up. Is that all you can say? What about Sasuke? How is he? She badgered her sensei, worried for her teammate and crush. Oh, he's fine. Sleeping soundly in the infirmary, Kakashi assured her, the girl sighing in relief. Though he left out an important tidbit. But he's been put under guard by the Anbu Black Ops. Here we go again. Moving on to the next match, everyone. It called out to everyone. Once again the screen flashed as it did its job, those still lingering were waiting once again for the names for the next matchup to appear. Once the characters had settled, the 2 names appeared before them as Mitsumi Tsurugi vs Kankuro. Finally, my turn, Kankuro thought. Behind his students, Baki's eyes narrowed as he looked at the war-painted boy. Careful, Kankuro. You'll underestimate your opponent one time too many, he warned in his head but said nothing to his student. Arya glanced at his brother from the corner of his eye, filled with nothing but contempt and annoyance. HMF. Idiot. As for Hinata and her team, they were still slightly unsettled from the last match. They all watched with serious expressions as another foreign ninja was about to fight. Kiba frowned as he leaned against the rail with Akimaru's head poking out of his jacket. Hinata clutched the rail before her, having calmed down, but was still nervous about the fight. Shino's glasses and coat revealed nothing about his personal feelings towards the match, and their sensei looked grim. Team Guy wore the same expressions as they sized up the 2 ninja, wondering who would win in this round. Guy being the most serious of the 4 with his arms crossed. Lee stood beside him with a similar expression. Like Hinata, Tenten held onto the railing, but not in nervousness. Neji simply watched. As if the match was beneath him. As for Naruto and his sensei and teammate, Kakashi looked interested from what little she could see of his face. Sakura was interested and Naruto looked a bit agitated. He wanted to show off. Stepping forward, Miss Yumi's appearance was greatly concealed by the mask he wore around his mouth that hung to around his neck and forehead protector which he wore like a bandana. He wore what appeared to be the standard attire of his team consisting of a high-collared, sleeveless purple shirt with a short-sleeved white one underneath, a simple obi around his waist, purple pants, blue sandals and purple fingerless gloves, along with a pair of round-framed glasses, similar to the ones Kabuto had worn. "I'm not like Yoroi. I don't get careless, not even against kids," Miss Yumi warned Kankuro, the leaf ninja being older than most of the genin in the room. "Heh." Kankuro huffed confidently. "A piece of advice. Once I go into my jutsu, give up quick. If you do, I promise to make it short and painless," Miss Yumi promised. "Funny, I was about to say the same thing." Kankuro spoke as he took off his left shoulder strap holding the mummy-like object with hair poking out on him back fall to the ground with a thunk beside him. The wrapping slightly becoming loose. "Though I can't promise it will be painless." Miss Yumi said nothing as he stared down at the sand ninja, Kankuro smirking as he stared back. "Alright then. If you're ready, let the fourth match begin," Hayate announced. "Let me do you a favor and end this battle quickly," Kankuro sneered. "You can't end it if I end it first," Miss Yumi countered, just as confident as his opponent as he charged forward. "First strike, assure victory," Miss Yumi yelled as he moved to punch Kankuro in the jaw, to which the cat-eared ninja blocked as their arms trained to hold off the opposing strength of the other. Watching the fight ensue, what happened next surprised Kankuro and others who watched the match. "Huh?" Kankuro asked as Miss Yumi's hand. "No," his entire arm wrapped around his own. Miss Yumi's legs following suit as the ninja positioned himself behind Kankuro. His other arm wrapping around Kankuro's head. "NNNGGHH." The makeup-wearing catboy of the sand grunted as he tried to struggle, the wrapped bundle falling uselessly to the ground beside them. Across the room, Naruto was also amazed as he leaned over the rail like an excited child seeing a contortionist at a circus. "Whoa," Naruto exclaimed. "What's up with that guy's body? That's freaky. He's still a little bit childish," Sakura thought. Below, Miss Yumi was explaining how he was able to do this to the struggling Kankuro. "I have dislocated every one of my joints, softening my body. Then with my chakra, I can control it perfectly." "Just with his chakra? Whoa," Sakura said as she too leaned in beside Naruto. Meanwhile, the combatant stared down the other as Kankuro continued to struggle, though it did little to help the situation. "The more you struggle, the tighter I'll squeeze. I don't know what you're carrying in there, but as long as I have a hold of you, it makes no difference," Miss Yumi stated. "I could break your neck right now if I wanted to. And I will, unless you give up." Even though the situation looked dire for him, Kankuro smiled and let out a slight laugh. "Heh. You wanna bet? You wanna die?" Miss Yumi asked angrily as he tightened his hold on Kankuro. "You fool, you're the one who's gonna die here," Kankuro assured him, infuriating Miss Yumi as blood veins showed through his skin. "Huh?" Miss Yumi asked angrily. Hayate's eyes widened as the sound of a loud snap rebounded off the walls and into everyone's ears. Kankuro's head lolling to the side and forward. Hinata looked horrified, and the green hue she had from the previous match was beginning to return. Kiba shared Hinata's expression, though he did not look like he was about to be sick. Even with his eyes and mouth covered, Shino's eyebrows showed he too was shocked by this development. Lee, from where he stood near Naruto and his team watched shock. Neji wasn't shocked like his teammate, though he did look serious. Choji, Shikamaru, and Ino were overcome in shock. Sakura and Naruto smirked as saw someone finally die. DSK Naruto thought as he sensed Kankuro was still alive. Temari looked serious, but didn't openly grieve or show remorse for the supposed loss of her brother. Dosu glanced over at Garia, only to find the boy was looking down on the scene with nothing but contempt. As if his brother dying was a tedious matter and he would rather be doing anything else. Dosu was slightly surprised at Garia's reaction, yet at the same time she wasn't. Garia himself admitted he didn't see Kankuro as a brother and would kill him if he got in his way. At this point in the exams, Garia didn't need Kankuro. Kankuro's head continued to loll as Miss Yumi continued to hold the supposed dead weight up. "I think he broke his neck," Rock Lee muttered. "No, he didn't," Naruto thought. "What's the big deal?" Garia thought, honestly confused why everyone was freaking out and making such a big deal out of it. Below, Hayate sighed in relief, making Naruto irritated. Miss Yumi looked at Kankuro and sked. What a fool. Too bad he didn't surrender. Oh, well. He thought, not really caring he just killed someone as he began to loosen his hold on Kankuro. When he did so, there was a distinct crackling noise as what looked like pieces of Konkuro's skin had flaked off. "You're the fool. Naruto. Did he notice something?" Shikamaru thought. "Huh?" Miss Yumi asked as he jumped at the sudden movement. More pieces falling to the ground as Konkuro's head moved up and turned like an owl's with a slight cranking noise to stare at Miss Yumi, making the ninja gasp. The face cracked, his teeth like cogs of a gear, and an odd eye with lines about it. The texture underneath the fake skin appearing to be wood by the color. "Now it's my turn, so say goodbye," this fake Konkuro said cheerfully. Tearing through the black baggy clothing Konkuro always wore, 4 wooden hands and arms sprung forth to wrap around Miss Yumi's torso. The sections divided and connected by ball joints. These joints making crinkling noises as they tightened around the boy that once held this fake Konkuro. Spectators watched amazed as the diggers of Konkuro fell away to be replaced with something else. The hat and the false face falling away. Grunting with effort, Miss Yumi tried to free himself as his foe raised its head. It was humanoid with 4 arms and jagged teeth as she had observed prior to this. It had 3 eyes, along with spiky brown hairstyle, protruding from the top of its head and framing the sides. It seemed to be made of wood or something similar in coloration. It was a giant puppet. Miss Yumi's eyes widened at the sight as he realized what happened with a sharp intake of breath. This is just a puppet and the real ninja was in there controlling it. He's a puppet master. He realized. How did Naruto know? Shikamaru thought. Down below, Konkuro's hand glowed as thin lines of chakra connected to the puppet as it moved. Noticing this, Sakura shared with the others. He controls it with chakra from his hand. The crow, meanwhile, was continuing to tighten its arms around Miss Yumi as all he could do was emit strangled cries. Going tighter and tighter until nearly breaking bones. Enough. I give. Ah. Miss Yumi cried as the puppet really did begin to break bones. But if your bones are all crushed, just think how much more flexible you'll be. Konkuro said, sounding as if he was trying to be helpful. Sakura glanced at the proctor at this, wondering why he didn't stop the match. Miss Yumi had surrendered already. Konkuro had won. Why prolong it? They still had other matches to go through. Heiei said nothing as he continued to watch, coughing into his hand, but not to bring attention to himself and interrupt the match yet. That was close. I almost stopped the match in the middle. But it's a good thing I didn't, the proctor thought. Soon, it was too much for Miss Yumi. Konkuro disconnected the strings holding both the puppet and Miss Yumi up as he fell over with a grunt and passed out. Heiei didn't miss a beat as he addressed the crowd, because his opponent is unable to continue, the winner is Konkuro. He said as he pointed his arm toward said ninja. Alright everyone. We will be having a short intermission. Use this opportunity to get some fresh air or bathroom break. Heiei addressed everyone as he dismissed them and headed to speak with the other proctors and the Hokage. Toji grumbled about being hungry again. He took out a pack of chips out of his pocket. Delicious, Joji said through his open mouth, making Ino grimace. Don't talk with your mouth full. Eat first. She scolded him. Next fight. Sakura vs Ino. Result draw. Asuma and Kakashi felt embarrassed by the performance of their genin. Tenten and Temari were displeased with them because girls like them give Kunoichi a bad rep. Pathetic, Naruto thought. Gazing up at the screen, it flashes the ever-growing familiar sound of its digital beeping continued as characters flew across the screen. Tenten vs Temari. Great. Dosu drawled sarcastically. Another leaf Kunoichi. I hope she's better than the last two. At least with Temari fighting, if she's anything like Konkuro, then this match will be quick. Gin nodded and turned to the sand Kunoichi in question, good luck. I doubt you will need it. Just show these shinobi what real Kunoichi are made of. Temari smirked at this. You don't have to tell me twice. With that, Temari left the balcony and descended to the ground floor, along with Tenten on the opposite side of the room. I'm so ready. After watching that last match, I'm fired up. Tenten thought as she observed her opponent. Above, Tenten's team each watched eager to see the next match. Some more enthusiastic than the other. So this is another genin from the Sand Village. Neji observed. This should be interesting to watch. Meanwhile, Rock Lee didn't hesitate to start showing off his youth as he cheered the bun-haired girl below on. Go Tenten. Meanwhile, Temari's team said nothing as both Gaara and Konkuro looked down and simply watched. Gaara looked bored. Come on, Tenten used the power of youth. Lee continued to cheer. Waving his fist in the air in his excitement. Nice Lee, let's hear that support. You can do it, Tenten Gai Sensei complimented Lee and encouraged both his students. The man doing the same as Lee as he hurried for Tenten, raising his fist into the air. Take her down, Tenten. Lee continued to shout. The match hasn't even started yet. They need to tone it down a little. Dosu. Don't mind them. It's touching they care so much about her. Kin. It is I guess, but still, cheer during the match. Dosu grumbled. After the last match, Hayate seemed even more tired than before, and with bored eyes that spoke how much he wished this was over, he gathered everyone's attention as he spoke. Addressing each girl in turn as he spoke. For the 5th match, Tenten Tamari, get ready. Each girl stepping forward. Tenten glared with determination, and Tamari's gaze showed only boredom. The room grew quiet as the girls waited for Hayate's mark to begin. After but a moment, Hayate started the match. Begin. Now that the match had officially started, Tamari looked determined. At the words of the proctor she moved slightly but did nothing to attack. This caught Tenten off guard. Not knowing what to expect, Tenten jumped back, giving herself for breathing room to attack or dodge. Alright, Tenten. Keep her guessing. Lee shouted. Go for it. You've got the power of youth. Guy cheered. The cheering didn't stop as Rock Lee continued. Come on, Tenten. Send that girl back to her village on a stretcher. We're right behind you all the way, Tenten. Let's hear it. 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Guy cheered. Woo. Lee interjected. Tenten. Guy finished the cheer. Shikamaru and his team were quiet. Shikamaru yawning from it all. From his position on the balcony away from the ninja teams, the Hokage watched and added his toe bits, even though he had mostly be quiet during most of the other matches. It was weird he would say something now when there had been other more impressive matches. Tenten is carefully determining her distance, just what I'd expect from her. She's well positioned to attack or defend. Hayate was growing impatient as he watched the two ninja. The only thing happening since the match started was the two starting at each other and Tenten jumping back a bit. What are you waiting for? I did say to begin. He repeated himself, making sure both knew they could attack as he looked between the two. Tenten did nothing as she watched Tamari's movements. Tamari laughed at her. Guess she's waiting for me to make a move. Big mistake, because that first move I make will be the last one you see. Boasting about her skills. Taking a step forward, Tenten moved back. Taking another step forward, Tamari tried to goad the other girl into attacking. Come on, I don't want this match to be over too quickly, so why don't you go first? Come on, girl. Show me what you got. Well, okay. If you insist. Remember, you asked for it. Tenten replied, falling for it. Tenten jumped into the air and threw 4 shurikens at the Sand Kunoichi. Dosu lifted an eyebrow at this. If that was the best she had, then Leaf Kunoichi were nothing to report about back home to the mist. Dosu was honestly expecting more since the girl was older and more experienced than Ino or Sakura. Watching, Dosu gasped as he saw something odd happen to Tamari. It was something akin to an afterimage, he guessed. If that was so, Tamari was fast if she had the ability to move so swiftly that an image of her was left behind. After Tamari did whatever she had done, Dosu felt the slightest bit of wind. Tamari smirked as the shurikens fell and clattered uselessly to the ground to Tamari's right. Though one did embed itself into the ground. Dosu leaned in closer, the match becoming more interesting. At least Tamari was. Dosu racking his brain as to what happened until it hit him. Tamari had used the wind. Looking over the girl, Dosu's eye landed on the object attached to Tamari's back. Is that what she used to move the shuriken with? Using whatever that is to create a shift in the air and move the weapons off course? Dosu wondered. Looking at Tamari's siblings, Dosu noticed a common element the 3 of them had. Each one had a tool attached to their backs. Why didn't I notice that before? Tenten landed back on the ground in shock. I missed her. There's just no way. Tamari's hands rested on her hips as she stood smirking and taunting her opponent. What was that, a warm-up exercise? Or maybe you're a little too nervous and it's affected your aim. Is that it? Tenten growling at the insults. Kakashi shook his head. Getting worked up easily was not a good trait for a chunin to have. Anger makes people rash and rash decisions get people killed. For a leader it could get their whole team killed. Seeing the impact her words had on Tenten, Tamari continued on. Rats, I was hoping I'd at least work up a sweat. But forget that idea if this is the best you've got. This made Tenten growl even more while above, Rock Lee and Guy tried to figure out what happened. What is going on? How could she have missed? Lee asked. It is incredible. It's impossible. Guy protested. Tenten's aim is perfect. She always hits her mark. Not this time, she didn't. Neji stated. Appearing not as bothered by this development as his sensei and fellow teammate. She never misses. Guy stressed. There must have been something that made her miss. He concluded. Lee asked shocked. Across the room, Kankuro smirked as he commented on the fight. You know, you can always count on Tamari to put on a good show. Back with the remains of Team 7 and 10, Shikamaru couldn't help but complain. Man, this is embarrassing. He drawled out. The Sand Village wins again. Shikamaru. Even Choji could see the outcome as he agreed with the boy beside him. It's obvious, like he said, this one's over. Lee disagreed with him. Neji agreed with him but didn't express his thoughts. Taking some deep breaths, Tenten tried to calm down, figure out how Tamari had dodged, and plan her next move. Okay, stay calm, don't let her get to you. Observing her opponent, Tenten noticed the other girl's position at the edge of one of the floor tiles. From there, Tenten began using the tiles as markers, calculating the distance in her head. 1, 2, 3. She must have dodged them somehow. But if I try a different approach meanwhile, Tamari was having a grand out time as she noticed what Tenten was doing and smirking the entire time. Laughing within her mind, nearly tempted to laugh right in the other girl's face. Ha ha ha. Look at her measuring her distance. Here comes her big move. She thought as she reached back for her ninja tool strapped there, a giant metal fan. Noticing this, Tenten smirked as she cracked the code and what caused her previous attack to fail. So that's her secret, that fan she carries. Okay. She thought as she started running to her left in a circle around Tamari and keeping the same distance between them. Tamari did nothing as she turned her head to watch Tenten and kept her hand on her fan. Once Tenten made a full circle, she continued until she was on Tamari's right side. The side holding the fan. As Tenten moved closer to her targeted position, she reached into one of her pockets and with a twist and a leap, she flew into the air. Alright, try this on for size. Tenten shouted as her body flipped so her feet reached for the ceiling and her head was pointed towards the ground. Spinning once clockwise as she looked down at Tamari and prepared to use the scroll she had retrieved from her pocket. Pulling it open with her left hand, the scroll unfurling to reveal multiple characters. Holding both ends of the scroll, she flipped back up and maneuvered it around, so when her body faced the ground in a starfish post-ion, she let the left part of the scroll go. The way Tenten moved slightly reminded Naruto of ribbon dancing as the brunette continued to twirl and flip in the air. Somehow turning back upside down in the mix and back again, doing a hand sign or two, Naruto wasn't sure with the way the girl kept moving and the scroll blocking her view. Soon, the acrobatic stopped as the scroll completely opened and Tenten spun in the air. Due to the speed she was going, the scroll was loosely forming an oval in the air as it warped around the air above and below her. Going slowly at first and going faster and faster until Tenten's body and the scroll became a blur and spun like a top. Inside, Tenten pressed her hand to one of the characters and with a small poof of kunai appeared. Grabbing it and pulling out other weapons from the scroll, Tenten hurled them towards Tamari. As the weapons of knives, ninja stars, Seban needles, scythes, rained down, Ren felt the air shift again as Tamari held the top and bottom of her weapon and quickly opened and closed it. The wind blowing everything off course to clatter to the ground uselessly. Tamari flipped her fan around, the base on the ground beside her on the girl's left. The cloth inside tan cream color and opened just enough to reveal a single purple circle. With nothing left to throw at her from that scroll, Tenten landed on the left side of Tamari, opposite the as she had originally jumped from. The scroll fluttering uselessly to the ground. No way, she stopped everything I threw. What has she got in that fan of hers? Tenten asked in disbelief. If throwing weapons is all that she can do, then she stands no chance. Naruto thought. Aha, take a look. Tamari told the confused girl. As Dosu watched, he couldn't help but feel bad for the leaf Kunoichi and thought she was pathetic. Tamari was the worst opponent for Tenten to go up against. She probably would have had a better chance of winning if she had gone against someone like Yoroi, the boy being a close-range fighter. But that previous attack, Tenten would have done some major damage if he couldn't deflect them all or dodge them. With so many coming at him, it would have been impossible. Tenten would have been able to avoid the chakra drain ability Yoroi had while still doing damage. So the cards were stacked against Tenten from the beginning. Besides the matchup, there was also the fact Tenten didn't seem to have any jutsu she specialized in. She was mostly, if not purely, a taijutsu and weapons expert. The Yamanaka at least had her family jutsu, but it's not a combat jutsu. These girls were sorely lacking in ninjutsu in their personal arsenal. This girl has had a longer time period to hone her skills. She should be better than this. She should also have a backup plan in case something like this ever happened. Not planning ahead and having backup plans is sloppy, cocky, and leads to death. Dosu thought below. Tamari continued to explain what was in her fan. This is the first moon. There are 2 more. When you see all 3 moons you'll know you've lost the match. She warned. This declaration made Tenten stiffen as Lee called out to her. Tenten, do not play your opponent's game. Maintain focus. Tenten gritted her teeth in frustration at both herself and her teammates. Useless advice. I know, Lee. I know. Well, I was planning to save this for the finals, not wasted on a preliminary round, but it may be now or never. Slipping back into a confident smile, Tenten became serious and determined now she had a new plan. This time she pulled out 2 scrolls. Lee was confused as he watched this. Next to the boy, Guy was also surprised as he knew what his student was going to do next. She's using that already. Neji said nothing as he watched the match, doubting it would work. thinking Tenten was fated to fail in this round. Working on the scrolls, Tenten crouched down and placed the scrolls on the ground, holding them up to keep them from falling over. Tamari tossed her hair back as she laughed. "Ha. It won't work, whatever it is," Tamari said with a wicked smile. Balancing the two scrolls so they stood upright, Tenten formed the hand signs tiger, dragon, monkey, hare, snake, and crossed her arms in front of her. Rising twin dragons. Tenten stated the name of her technique as a mass swirl of smoke billowed forth, making Tamari cover she eyes and wind ruffle her hair. Shikamaru looked slightly confused, wondering if this could shift the tides of the match, though he doubted it. Garea's expression was an emotionless mask as he watched his sister. Soon two dragons made of the smoke shot out into the air. Rising up and spin around each other, when the smoke dispersed, it revealed the two scrolls. From the center of the smoke, Tenten jumped in between the scrolls, where she began summoning weapons and throws them at her opponent in quick succession. Tamari was calm as ever, never once showing fear at the massive weapons being thrown at her. "Ha. It doesn't matter how many you throw at me," she said as she lifted her fan up and grabbed the base. "It's all the same." Opening it wider as she swung it in a circle around her, crouching at the end. Moon number 2. Effectively blowing away all the weapons. Landing back on the ground with the emptied scrolls, Tenten glared. "I'm not done," she yelled as she jumped up into the air once again. Curling into a ball before uncurling and stretching her arms out, Tenten pulled on near invisible strings attached to all of the weapons she had thrown previously, pulling them up into the air again. In the meantime, Tamari had gotten a firmer grip on her fan as she prepared for all the weapons currently suspended in the air. With a grunt and a wave of her hands, Tenten sent all the weapons down at Tamari. Tamari grunted at the challenge before her. Seeing this reaction, Tenten smiled and grew overconfident as she drew closer to the ground. "Ha, I've got her now." Tamari then smirked as she chuckled, this was too easy for her. With another wave of her fan, Tenten and her weapons were blown back. Her body skidding to a halt as she landed on the ground. Looking back at Tamari, weapons littered to floor between them and around the sand Kanoichi. The fan fully open, revealing the 3 purple moons. Tenten soon sat up and noticed the open fan herself as Tamari smiled and taunted her. Moon number 3. Standing up, Tenten watched as Tamari moved the fan so she crouched behind it, and the fan's blank back was facing the brunette. Then, with a spin or two, Tamari and her fan disappeared before Tenten's eyes. Where did she go? She's gone. Tenten thought as she looked around for the missing girl. "Over here," Tamari called out behind Tenten. The girl whipping around. "What?" she thought in shock. Above her, Tamari was gliding through the air, riding the fan as she smirked down at her opponent, her shadow passing over Tenten as she circled back around and landed in front of her. Catching her fan again, Tamari smirked as she used her finishing move for this match. "Now it's my turn. Wind scythe jutsu." The open fan creating a whirlwind as she waved it back and forth. Tenten being blown right off her feet. "Tenten," Lee called out to her. The wind was keeping her suspended in the air as she screamed. The wind was cutting into her clothing and skin. Tamari just standing there as the wind kept moving on its own. Noticing this, Neji informed his sensei and teammate. "Tamari's chakra is controlling the vortex." Lee asked as he turned his attention away from the match to look at the Hyuga. "She fought well, but she'll never escape from that whirlwind. It's over," Neji concluded. The whirlwind didn't dissipate yet, but it did slow down and allowed Tenten's body fall from its clutches, only to land on the end of Tamari's closed metal fan as she stretched it out for this exact purpose. The impact causing Tenten to cough out blood. Naruto smirked, "Whoa, that girl's really ruthless." Meanwhile, the rest of the room were still focused on the match, though it was clear it was already over, even if Hate hadn't called it yet. "Oh, Tenten," Lee said sadly as he watched the unnecessary damaging being done to her. "Wasn't much of a match. Kind of boring," Tamari remarked as she looked at Tenten. "To be able to stop every one of Tenten's attacks like that," Guy muttered, still unable to wrap his mind around the concept and what happened before his very eyes. "I still cannot believe it," Lee said, sharing his sensei's sentiments. "It was impressive, all right. That Tamari is scary." Naruto. Joji didn't seem that fazed by what happened, though he along with Shikamaru already predicted how the match would end, so there was no need to be. "Yep, it's another win for the Sand Village, just like you said it would be." Choji spoke to his friend beside him. "Well, of course. That's why I said it," the lazy genius replied. "Well, looks like we're guaranteed a clean sweep in this round," Kankuro observed. Arya said nothing as he only hummed, actually bothering to acknowledge his elder brother. "This Sand team is clearly one to be feared," Hokage muttered as he smoked his pipe. Below, Hayate picked his way through the minefield of fallen weapons. Coming to a stop, he announced the winner of the match, though it was already crystal clear. The winner of the 5th match, Tamari. Smirking with achievement and a wicked thought in her mind, Lee gasped at Tamari's expression. Wait a second. Lee shouted, fearing the sand kunoichi was about to do something bad to his already injured teammate. Lee jumped from the balcony. Hey, hummed as he turned towards Lee to see what the problem was. Pulling back her arm slightly along with her fan holding up the unconscious Tenten, Tamari swung it and threw the brunette off of her weapon. Tenten was sent flying over her fallen weapons. She would have possibly landed on the sharp objects and injured herself further if Lee had not jumped down and caught her. Sliding back as he kneeled with a slight ugh, gently holding Tenten's body in a more comfortable position. Watching this, Tamari's smirk only grew. Hey, nice catch. What is wrong with you? Lee demanded. She may have lost, but that is no way to treat an opponent who has done her best. Tamari picked up her fan and smacked it into the ground. Oh, beat it. She ordered. And take that sack of garbage with you. Her voice filled with nothing but contempt. This only infuriated Lee as he put Tenten down and moved to strike the girl who dared hurt his teammate and insult her so. Charging at the sand ninja. Seeing this, Neji called out to the ninja. No, Lee. Lee. Guy called out, trying to stop Lee. But Lee would not listen anymore, too far gone in his anger. Leaf Hurricane. He cried out as he tried to do a roundhouse kick. Only for Tamari to block it with her fan. Lee uttering a confused what, seeing his attack so easily blocked. Not even close. Tamari taunted as she looked Lee in the eye. You know what? You're as dumb as you look. She concluded. What did you say? Lee growled as he backed off a bit but looked ready to try and attack again. Lee, stop. Guy ordered as he joined them on the ground floor. But Guy Sensei. Lee tried to protest as he turned towards the man he admired. Tamari gritted her teeth in irritation from being interrupted. Above, Garia called out to his sister. Tamari, forget them. The match is over, so get up here. He ordered. You won. Why are you wasting your time with that pathetic loser and his ridiculous mentor? What? Lee whispered, his anger rising again. Lee glaring at the redeed as Garia looked down on him with contempt and a motionless mask. Naruto sighed at the argument and spoke up. Break it up. Attracting Lee's attention away from Garia as he continued. Lee, from the beginning, this wasn't a match Tenten was going to win. She didn't lose because of her skills, there were many factors that lead to her defeat. She lost her patience and I don't think she had any other options. Against someone else, Tenten probably would have won. This time, she didn't. After she undergoes more training and gets stronger, she can take the exam again. That's not the end of the world. Getting angry and attacking Tamari will change nothing about the match's outcome. You'll only get yourself kicked out of the exam. I doubt Tenten would want that. Naruto stated. Lee looked up at Naruto in slight disappointment and betrayal. Even though he didn't know Naruto on a personal level, they were still comrades. Naruto's words slightly hurt when he said nothing about Tamari's uncalled for actions to Tenten. Then, Lee looked down at the ground in shame. Naruto had a point. Tenten wouldn't want him be kicked out. Naruto then turned to Guy. Tenten is skilled, but she needs more than those tools. Her attacks are useless if they can just be blown away. Her failure to prepare and plan ahead shows she's not ready to be a chunin. As her sensei, you should have helped her see the flaws in her tactics and have backup plans to overcome them. Getting on to Guy as well. HMPH. Tamari smirked, enjoying both for the ninja before getting a tongue lashing from Naruto. Naruto then turned his head to look at Tamari. His eyes turning cold. The look in his eyes reminded her all too well of her youngest brother when he was angered. As for you. Naruto said as everyone waited to see what he would say to the Sand Village girl. Naruto tilted his head as he looked at the girl below. Her team gasped as did many of the others as he smiled at the girl. Good work. Naruto. Wait, what? Was the response of most spectators. They thought he was about to tell her off. They were shocked when he praised her. Naruto, how can you praise someone for harming your comrade? Kakashi said disappointed. Comrade? Naruto laughed. As far I am concerned, none of you are my comrades. The Leaf Shinobi were shocked as they heard this. Hiruzen was worried now. He didn't take Naruto's threat on Sasuke's life seriously earlier. What has happened to him? Hiruzen thought. The room was silent until Guy broke it as he placed a hand on Lee's shoulder. Just calm down, Lee. Then addressed the Sand Ninja. A word of warning. You Sand villagers have no idea what Lee is capable of. Remember, he still hasn't fraught yet. So I'd be careful if I were you. Tension was still high in the room, Guy's words not helping calm things down really. On the other side of Garia, Tamari was smiling at Naruto. Osu and Kin were staring at Naruto with fear in their eyes. Soon, Lee and his sensei returned to their side of the room as Medic Ninja took Tenten away. After clearing the room of all of Tenten's weapons, the electric board worked its magic as it emitted digital sounds. Soon it would choose and reveal the next combatants for the 7th match. Most of the genin and their senseis were staring at Naruto. TSK. Naruto. Comrade. Most of you never thought me as that. An annoyance, dope, loser, dead last, demon, etc. None of you really cared for me. So why should I show any of you compassion? Naruto thought. Naruto-kun Hinata thought sadly. Everyone was tense. Most of them were staring at Naruto. What's the hold up? Let's get on with the next match. Naruto. Let's continue. Hate. Shikamaru sighed. I guess I can't blame him. Shikamaru thought as he recalled how the villagers and academy students treated Naruto growing up. He was brought out of his thoughts as Asuma tapped his shoulder. It's your turn, Asuma. Shikamaru looked at the board. Shikamaru Nara vs Kintsuchi. Shikamaru wasn't too happy about this as he drawled out, guess it's me. His hands in his pockets as he waited for his opponent to come down to the ground floor and face him. I expect nothing less than a win, Shikamaru, Naruto said as Shikamaru walked past him. Better give it my all. What a drag, Shikamaru thought. His team was cheering him on. Shikamaru, come on. You can do it. You can win this, no problem. Ino encouraged. Okay. Shikamaru gruffly replied. All you have to do is tell yourself, I cannot lose. Right. Ino encouraged him further. Beside her, Choji wasn't quite pleased with Ino's new attitude. Man, when did she get so darn enthusiastic? He complained in his mind. Then left the balcony to go and fight her match. Ino meanwhile continued her cheers. Yeah, okay. Here we go, Shikamaru. Make that little girl cry. Oh man, this is such a drag. I mean, give me a break. I gotta fight a girl. Shikamaru complained as he ignored Ino, his hands still in his pockets. Yeah, you just keep thinking that way, little man. Kin replied angrily. Ready? The proctor called out. Oh, well. Shikamaru. 6 match. Hade announced. Nothing I can do. Shikamaru thought. Both prepared themselves as Hade addressed them. Shikamaru and Kin. Begin. Shikamaru didn't waste a moment as his hands flew to form the ninja hand sign of the rat. The only hand sign required for his clan signature technique, the shadow possession jutsu. That's all I've got. He muttered. No matter what, try you will lose. Kin. Ninja art, shadow possession jutsu. Shikamaru said as he activated his jutsu, his shadow stretching towards Kin from his body, attached only by his feet. Is that all you know? If that's the only trick you've got, this is going to be easier than I thought. Kin informed him as she jumped away from the approaching shadow. Shikamaru tensed as he heard the sound of bells. Kin having thrown 2 senbon with bells attached as she jumped away. Ducking, the belled needles went over his head as they embedded themselves into the wall behind him. Looking over his shoulder, Shikamaru quickly thought of the purpose of these objects and what strategy the sound Kunoichi had in mind. Bells. Oh, please. Not that old trick. Shikamaru said with a chuckle and a smirk. Let me guess. Next, you'll throw senbon with bells and senbon without bells at the same time. I'll react to the bells and while I'm focused on dodging them, I won't notice the silent needles coming at me. Am I right? Good luck. He told her, growing confident in his analysis. You sure talk a lot, don't you? Kin observed as she ran towards him and threw more senbon at him. Shikamaru's smile remained as he ducked to his left and then down. Now I know to be careful to dodge all the senbon, not just the ones with bells. What Shikamaru didn't calculate or expect was the sound of bells ringing, even though he hadn't seen Kin throw any. Shocked, Shikamaru whirled around. What? Where? He thought, demanding an answer. Behind him, almost innocently, the senbon Kin had thrown previously were somehow being moved, the bells ringing. Looking closely, Shikamaru noticed the glint of threads attached as they pull on the bells. Threads? Shikamaru questioned, before he realized his mistake. He had gotten distracted and Kin was still there now ready to attack again. Smirking, Kin was ready. Oh, man. Too late. Kin declared as she threw 2 more of the silent senbon at Shikamaru, hitting their target as Shikamaru was forced back on his bum. Ah! He yelled out in pain. Up on the balcony, Choji said nothing as Ino calling out to him in worry. Shikamaru. Standing up, Shikamaru moved to pull out the senbon stuck in his right arm, slightly above his elbow. 1 inch higher and that would have been a fatal hit. Gritting his teeth, he pulled them out and turned to Kin. Okay, now I get a turn. He declared as he tossed the senbon away and they clinked to the floor. Sorry, that was your turn. Kin replied as she tugged the thread attached to the bells. The sound of the bells beginning to affect Shikamaru as things around him seemed to shift and he became unbalanced. What's going on? Ugh. Shikamaru asked as he sunk down to his knees before glaring at the source of what was probably causing this. Seeing her plan working just as she hoped, Kin began explaining what was happening. Her hand resting on her hip. You see, you don't ever ask for whom the bell tolls because it tolls for thee. This bell sends off a peculiar sound vibration that travels through the outer and inner ear, then directly to the brain. First comes paralysis, and soon you'll start hallucinating. Hearing this, Shikamaru had begun to sweat as the bells kept ringing. He grunted as he covered his ears in a vain attempt to block out the noise. It won't work. You can't block the sound out once it's inside your head. It's useless. Kin spoke. Meanwhile, just as Kin said, Shikamaru begun to hallucinate as more Kin appeared. Removing his hands from his ears, Shikamaru wasn't looking too good, still sweating. I can't tell which one of them is the real one. You can't move your arms or legs. And even if you could, you wouldn't know which one of us to throw your shadow at. Face it, you're cooked, little man. Kin spoke. I'm going to cook you nice and slow over a hot fire. Kin promised as she took out 3 senbon. The bells continuing to toll. You think it's that easy, huh? Shikamaru asked. Kin did not answer as she threw the senbon. Seeing them coming, he braced himself. Ah! Shikamaru cried out as the senbons hit 2 places on his arm and 1 in his shoulder. Once again falling on his bum. That was 3. Next time, I'll throw 5. Each time, a couple more till you end up looking like a hedgehog. Kin taunted. His hair already looks like a pineapple. He doesn't need to become spikier. Naruto joked. Stop playing games, why don't you? Shikamaru asked her. Kin asked. If you're so tough, get it over with. Stop wasting my time. Shikamaru told her. I'm sorry. So you're not a fan of my slow and painful method, huh? Kin asked with false politeness. The bells ringing yet again. Fine, suit yourself. We'll do it the quick way then, and painful. She said as she pulled out 3 more senbon. Shikamaru looked worried at this declaration. Watching this, Naruto noticed something. He looked at the shadow of the thread. Has got this one in the bag. Naruto thought. Before Kin could attack, something strange was happening and she couldn't throw the senbon. What's wrong? Unknown to the spectators, the hallucinating of Kin had disappeared. Can't move my arm. Her arm lowered to her side. This development shocked Osu. Huh? Shikamaru chuckled a little as he stood up. It looks like my lame shadow jutsu was a success after all. Others watched this in shock. But you haven't thrown any shadows. No way, I made sure of it. Kin protested as she looked around her. Shikamaru smirked. Ha. You really still don't see it. What do you mean? Kin asked, close to freaking out. Look at that thread you're holding. Don't you find it a little strange that it would cast a shadow at this height? Shikamaru asked her, the shadows moving on their own. Of course you didn't notice it because you were concentrating on other things, like killing me. Looking down as the shadow grew around her, Kin scolded herself for her stupidity. The shadow spreading out around me and I didn't see it coming. Right. I stretched my shadow out along the line of that thread and followed it all the way back. Now I'm attached to you. Shikamaru informed her as he raised his hand, Kin mirroring him. Yet, Kin wasn't backing down, thinking there was still no way for Shikamaru to win. And now, so we mirror each other's movements. So what? A cute trick, but what do you gain by it? Man, you're annoying. Shikamaru complained. Shut up and watch. He ordered as he reached for his shuriken holder with Kin doing the same. Shikamaru hummed as he smirked at Kin. Realizing what he was doing, Kin started to freak out. You must be insane. If you throw that shuriken at me, you'll just be attacking yourself. Not caring for her words, Shikamaru took out the weapon anyway and ready to throw it. Makes it kind of interesting, doesn't it? You wouldn't. You couldn't. Kin protested. Yeah, like a game of chicken. Let's see who ducks first. Shikamaru suggested as he threw his weapon. You're crazy. Kin yelled as she had no choice but to throw hers as well. Both shuriken passed the other as everyone watched with bated breath. Seeing the weapon coming, Shikamaru bended over backward, narrowly missing the sharp object that had been thrown at him. Kin smirked as she watched this. Big deal. I'll do that too. She thought as she attempted to do the same. She did miss getting hit, only for her to hit her head on the back wall, effectively knocking herself out. And that's what I call using your head. Shikamaru joked. Hearing Kin's body crumple to the ground, Shikamaru flipped himself over and landed on his feet. The wise shinobi carefully scouts the physical layout of the battlefield and never loses sight of his position on it. That was her problem. I made sure she was so busy focusing on me, she didn't notice the wall inches behind her head. So when we both dodged backwards, kabong. Now who's hearing bells? Shikamaru explained with a hint of gloating. Not missing a beat, Hade announced the results. Winner of the 7th match, Shikamaru Nara. Atto boy, Shikamaru. Ino cheered. Yeah, way to go. Choji cheered on his best friend. Lee looked at Naruto and Gaara. Come on, when is it my turn? Lee thought. Now there's only me left. Dosu observed angrily. Next fight. Dibba vs Gaara. Proctor, I forfeit. Kiba shouted. He knew it was dangerous to take him on. Arya was angry because he didn't get to fight. Once again the screen flashed as it did its job. Naruto Uzumaki vs Rock Lee. Naruto jumped up to railing. Then jumped down to the arena. It's finally my turn, Lee thought. Lee, this is a match that you may not come out alive. Be careful. Neji warned. Lee might not make it out alive. Just how strong is Naruto? Guy thought. Lee nodded before going down. The room was quiet as everyone settled down to watch. Most were hoping for a less gruesome battle between the two Leaf Genin. No one said a word on who they thought would win. No one even shouted words of encouragement. Lucky him. He got the dead last, Kiba. Shikamaru chuckled. The dead last is going to show you how wrong you are. Shikamaru thought. Lee Sakura thought concerned. I pity that guy going up against that monster Naruto. Dosu thought. Gee, good luck Naruto. Hinata thought to herself. Show him the power of your youth. Guy shouted. Yes, Guy Sensei. Lee. Well then, comrade. To make things fair, I won't use any ninjutsu. Naruto. Even with his ninjutsu, Naruto would still lose. He doesn't stand a chance against Guy's prodigy, Kakashi thought. Is confident he could beat Lee without ninjutsu. Lee and Neji thought. Pei-8 raised his hand and signaled the beginning of the match. Begin. Lee was off, starting with a roundhouse kick. Konoha Senpu, Leaf Whirlwind. He shouted. Naruto caught the kick. He then tried to punch Lee's leg. As Lee saw this, he quickly dropped down on his hand to kick with his other leg. Naruto stood still as he got hit in the face. Is that all? Naruto said before kicking Lee in the stomach, which sent him flying. Lee quickly recovered midair. After that he charged at Naruto. Konoha Senpu, Leaf Great Whirlwind. Lee shouted, starting with a low kick that was blocked. He then rotated, going for a middle kick followed by a high kick. Naruto still blocked the strikes. Naruto disappeared, then reappeared behind Lee, performing a speedy roundhouse kick which his opponent blocked it. Well, this is a little boring. Naruto thought before jumping away from Lee. Those who still thought of Naruto as a dead last were surprised they saw this, as they didn't think Naruto stood a chance against Lee. Lee, take them off. Guy yelled from the balcony. Lee looked to his sensei. Guy gave him a thumbs up as confirmation. Lee dropped his weights. What good is dropping a few weights going to do? Naruto thought. When Lee dropped them down, they caused a giant crater with a loud boom. Shit, Naruto. Are you crazy? Kakashi scolded. He can handle them. Guy replied. Lee disappeared in a show of speed, attacking with a large variation of strikes. Naruto was unable to react to his attacks. He's strong, Naruto thought as he was getting hit. Naruto quickly enhanced himself with curse energy. When Lee tried to hit again, Naruto blocked his punch. My turn, Naruto said before twisting his arm. Naruto tried to elbow his arm. When Lee saw this, he quickly punched Naruto's elbow. Lee jumped away from him. There it is again. Guy thought. I remembered when Naruto caught Lee's kick earlier, he tried to break his leg and now his arm. Kakashi also observed this. Naruto, you really don't consider us as your comrades? Kakashi thought. Naruto and Lee engaged in fierce taijutsu. When one tried to hit the other, they would block the strikes. What the hell? How the hell did the dope change so much? Kiba. This fight will end if Naruto decides to use his ninjutsu, Shikamaru thought. Naruto is amazing. Hinata thought. How did he suddenly get stronger? We will get nowhere if this continues, Lee thought. Lee looked to his sensei. I remembered what Neji said. If Naruto decides to change his mind and use his ninjutsu, Lee might lose. Guy thought. Lee, do it. Guy. Lee activates the first gate. He then powers himself up by opening the second gate and third gate. Guy and Neji have flashbacks to before Lee became a genin and right after he became one, showing his determination to be a respectable ninja through only the use of taijutsu. Lee followed up with the fourth and fifth gate. His power and speed increased hundredfold, with his skin turning red. A blue aura surrounded him. What the hell were you thinking? Teaching him the gates? Kakashi asked. Guy replied, it's his last resort to save his precious people and guard his nindo. Nothing is more important than that. Kakashi sighed. It's over for Naruto now. Guy. I wouldn't count on that. If Lee forces Naruto to use his ninjootsu curse technique, it's over. Lee will be leaving the stadium in pieces, Shikamaru. I looked at Neji, who nodded. This worried him. A jutsu that reduces his opponents to pieces. When did he learn this? Kakashi thought. Lee's movements became a blur. He started attacking Naruto from all directions. Naruto was overwhelmed by his speed and couldn't react. He's really strong, Naruto thought happily. Lee, finish it, Guy yelled. Lee quickly kicked Naruto in the air and proceeded to use his most powerful technique, the reverse lotus. That should have finished him. Lee thought while breathing heavily. His body was in pain from the usage of the 8 inner gates. Yes, he did it. Guy shouted. If you only didn't handicap yourself you would have won. Neji and Shikamaru thought as they looked at Naruto who was laying on the floor. Naruto looked towards the sky and thought. Lee, you really are strong. Naruto thought. Lee had earned his respect. Pei-8 was about to call the match until Naruto stood up. Suddenly Naruto stood up. With most of his injuries healed. But how is he fine after that? Were thought many in the audience. Naruto healed himself with reverse curse energy while he was being overwhelmed by Lee. You really are strong, Lee. As a sign of my respect for you, I will end this fight with my most strongest attack, Naruto said, making a hand sign and closing his eyes. It's over now. Neji, Shikamaru and Dosu. I got worried as they said this. The main expansion. Malevolent Kitsch Shrine, Naruto said as he opened his eyes. The Jonins and Hokage were getting chills down their spines as they felt the intense malice exuded by the shrine. The Genin were terrified. Lee's instincts were telling him to run. I won't run. Lee said, steeling himself. Lee mustered what strength he had left to charge at Naruto. Before he could move a single step further he lost his arm. What happened? Lee thought as he looked to the spot where his arm was. In an instant Lee's other arm got slashed off. Seeing this, Lee recalled Neji's words. So this is how I die. Well, at least died fighting a worthy opponent, Lee thought with a smile. Naruto followed up by slicing off Lee's legs and his upper body. The Leaf Ninja were horrified as they saw this. Guy had a murderous look in his eyes. Neji saw this. Sensei, don't do anything stupid. Neji. I didn't list. He jumped off from the balcony to the arena and charged at Naruto. Before he could reach Naruto, Guy got his upper body slashed off. Naruto looked towards everyone. While we are in this shrine my attacks won't fail to miss. So it would be in your best interest not to piss me off. Arya was drooling as he eyed Naruto with a battle-crazed look. Temari and Kankuro saw this. Arya, he might be more than you can handle. Kankuro thought. Hiruzen felt disappointed in Naruto. Naruto has become a flight risk. We will have to start making countermeasures before he betrays the village. Hiruzen thought. Kakashi had the same thought as Hiruzen. I am sorry, Sensei, but if it comes to that I will have to kill your son, Kakashi thought. He killed them. Kiba said, shocked. Why would you kill them? Naruto Hinata thought, sad. Naruto won't be punished for either of their deaths. Shikamaru said. What the hell do you mean? He murdered 2 of his fellow ninja. Ino. Since he killed Lee in the confines of the Chunin exams, he won't be punished for it. And also he defended himself from Guy who wanted to avenge his student Asuma. Pei-8 looked at Lee. He declared Naruto the victor. I hope you guys liked the story. If you did, click on any of the videos which are popping on the screen right now. I promise you'll love them too. If you like my videos you can like and subscribe too. I'll see you on another amazing What If video, guys. Love you all, peace.